Okie dokie. Welcome to the first of what may or may not turn into a bunch of different videos about how I mod characters and mod for specific stuff. But yeah, let's get started. First, go through, do my mod work for the week, then we'll build out some 3v3 teams and remod everybody for that. So, mod work. First thing I'm going to do is go through, already have the filter set, sell everything that's 4 stars or lower, don't have any, and then I sell all of these squares, diamonds, and circles that are gray. Just make sure I don't have anything in here that I actually have worked on and want to keep. Go ahead and sell all of those. And the reason I do that is because right now there's a huge disparity in what types of mods you get. So if I come over here and I just hit squares, you can see I've got all those squares, tons and tons of diamonds, tons and tons of circles. I come over here, it's a lot smaller. Well, it's relatively the same, except I have all the gray ones in here. Of these. Arrows probably could sell a bunch of those, but arrows are kind of their own beast. Anyway, just sell off the gray ones on that side. They cost a lot of credits to work on, and they don't really, you don't really need them. Alright, so let's make sure I'm done selling everything I'm going to sell here. Alright, so actually doing the work, I only unassigned because I don't have mods that I haven't worked on people, and then I just filter it down so it's easier to manage. I like to do this just so that I know that I'm going to do the ones that have potential first, and anything in here that doesn't have speed secondary is not worth putting any effort into. So just level those up, no speed, ditch them. Move on to the blue ones. We got 3 speed here, so we'll go to 9. If it hits speed, hit 3 speed. It's garbage mod. Now, if that was a triangle or a cross, I would keep it because, again, those are harder to come by mods. And yeah, we hit 7 speed there. It's not worth keeping. No speed. And what is or isn't worth keeping kind of varies depending on what you have. I have quite a few speed mods in the square, just mods in general in squares that have 15 or more speed on them. So I don't really need to keep something that only rolls a 7 and is going to be a very poor overall speed mod, even if it hits multiple more times. So far nothing too exciting in our mod inventory of the week. There's a little 5-speed guy, look at that. Speak of the devil. So if I hit something great like that, I'll go ahead and lock it immediately. I just leave them pretty much at 12. These ones at the top here that are 15s probably were gray mods at one point that hit speed, or they've been in the account for a long time and I had to put them on a character. There's another 5-speed hit, but we miss it. For green mods, if it doesn't hit speed on the first roll, I sell it. I try not to equip green mods to any characters. I try to not really use mods until they're blue or better. Obviously that doesn't always work out. But basically, if a green mod doesn't have speed or doesn't hit speed right away, the chances of it hitting speed down the line are pretty poor. every speed hit you can get into a mod makes it higher potential for future slicing materials and or credits, and yeah, that's kind of my cutoff. If it is not got speed on it at green, I don't work on it. And then we don't do anything with grays, because I don't have any grays because I sold them all before we started. Alright, see if we can get any work out of this one. We would like to see another hit or two into speed, but that'll be alright. A little offense primary on a crit chance mod. We like that. We're just going to go to 6 on this. If it starts hitting into that flat defense, we're going to sell it. But we didn't. We hit the percent health, which is kind of what we want. So we'll go ahead and throw a couple more on. And that is a fantastic arrow now. Can work for anybody that wants a speed arrow, because it's a health set, so it has a ton of potential. This is not a good mod. And I don't like accuracy mods in general, but we'll see if there's a speed secondary, and since there's not, we're just going to get rid of it. Alright. Again, 3 speed is pretty rough. We'll take it to 9 if it hits speed and a decent speed, so it did. We'll take it to 12. I still don't think this is going to be a mod that I ever put any slicing materials into, but if I ever need an accuracy arrow for somebody for an event or something, that'll be nice to have. Most of the time, if it's a speed set, you're going to want a speed primary, so these would have to turn out pretty good to be worth keeping as a speed set. Because you're trying to, if you put in a speed set on somebody, you want to milk as much speed out of them as possible. Alright. So, this is a pretty bad arrow. I'm not going to lock it. I tend to just kind of leave them sitting around and do a purge every once in a while. Anything with flat stats is not great. Alright, this is an offense set with an offense primary. We've got some flat offense and potency on here, so it's decent. So we're going to roll this 3 speed, even though it's kind of a junk number, and we hit the 1 stat on there that we didn't want, so we sell it. And gray arrows. These I don't bother messing around with. I just take them straight to 12 and see if they have good stats. Like this, we got offense, crit chance, and health. That's really good for an offense set mod, so throw a lock on it. Accuracy, down here, I'm probably not going to bother leveling up any of these speed arrows that don't have speed primaries. There's just too much variability in the stats that the chances of getting a good mod out of it are really low, and the chances of it then turning into a worthwhile mod. This is a offense arrow with a protection primary. I'm actually going to level this up because gas can use something like that, but most of the time I don't want that. And again, no speed, so not keeping. Offense arrow with health doesn't do anybody any good. Crit avoidance is an interesting topic, because every now and again you find a character that really wants a crit avoidance arrow. But I also have now 2 crit avoidance arrows with high speed rolls in them. One hangs out on my JML for the most part. The other one is on Magna Guard at the moment. And I have one on Freya. So, yeah. Need to get some good. It would have to be really good to kind of really be worth keeping at this point, because you don't need a ton of crit avoid stuff. I shouldn't have leveled that up, but I did, and we hit speed secondary, so I'm gonna hold on to it. I don't know if I'll ever slice that mod. If I don't, after a couple of weeks, it will get thrown in the dumpster, by which I mean sold. So, and then, yeah, this is pretty much the process. You can sort of see, again, no speed secondaries. I am far more critical of my squares, diamonds, and circles because I have so many more of those than every other kind of mod that I can afford to be. Defense, if this hits a bunch of speed, it'll be alright. Otherwise, junk. This has no speed, so it's garbage. We hit the speed, and we hit a bunch more speed, but that's now 4 rolls on speed, and it's only 15 speed mod. So this is really bad. We're obviously going to keep it because a 15 speed mod is worth keeping anyway, but I don't think I'll ever slice that mod. At best, it turns into a 22 speed mod. And there's just so many ones that are more high potential for success that I don't know that mod will ever get slicing materials. 11 speed on 3 rolls, so that's 2 4s and a 3. Or a 5 and 2 3s. Either way, 4 and 3 as speed rolls are below average. You really want to hit those 5s and 6s. Okay. Triangles is probably the mods that I am most loosey-goosey with as far as following the rules. This is just heartbreaking. Just heartbreaking. It makes me so sad. Like this is not really a good mod, but I will keep it because it's so hard to get speeds in, triangles. So a lot of these will be eligible for slicing, even though, like, I would never slice a gold mod with 8 speed in any other shape. It wouldn't do it. But I will probably end up slicing a bunch of these. Now this is a great mod. Fantastic mod. We love it. My favorite. This, yeah, we're gonna hold it. I don't like it. I wish they would hit more good stats. But that one had no speed on it, so we sell it. This one has no speed on it, so we sell it. No speed, bye-bye. Now, one thing to talk about here is the Road Ahead that just came out. They said they're going to start equalizing the shape distribution on mod drops. So all of that stuff, selling the left side gray mods and being a little bit more lenient on the triangles is stuff that will probably slowly fade out over time, because we'll have more of the harder shapes, so we can afford to be a bit pickier with what we keep and don't keep, versus having to just work with what we got because the volume is so low on these triangles. That's good start to a mod there. I like that. Don't like that. But like you could see there, right? I had, after an entire week of farming mods, I haven't worked on mods since last Saturday, and I had 2 triangles in green to upgrade, or maybe 3. Like, it's not a ton of triangles, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, here. Whereas the other mod types I had, a lot more, have a lot more. Most of the gold, the fact that I had all them gold triangles is because I buy predominantly gold triangle mods out of the shop if they have speed on them. So probably the one that didn't have any speed that I sold right away is the only one I got naturally through farming or whatever. Everything else probably came out of the shop, and you can see we had 1 mod out of there, and that's the first one in probably 3 weeks that's actually worked out well. Triangles are just a pain. Just a pain. I hate this when this happens, right? You level it up because it's a gray speed mod and it has speed, but it's a defense primary, which just immediately makes you sad, and those ones always seem to hit stupid speed rolls. This was much more fun. We like health a lot better than defense. Defense primaries are pretty terrible, with the exception of like 2 characters in the entire game. Alright, that's the triangles. 2 left. Man. Why do I have this mod? I have a lot of mods here that I feel like I need to purge out because they've just not hit or something. That's unfortunate. This is a tricky one, right? Because we did hit 1 speed. It's not particularly great speed rolls, but we got a lot of potency and we hit health on it. And all of the stats on this mod are really good. So that's a tough one to sell, but probably end up selling it. It's just not fast enough. Just not fast enough. No speed. I'm gonna have to go through those and figure out some to sell here in a minute. That many unequipped circles is concerning at that particular color scheme. 8. If this was not a circle, I would probably keep that 8 and slice it once, but because it is a circle, it's not worth slicing. It needs to be, I think, for the left side, I think 10 at blue is like the minimum amount of speed that is worth taking to purple. Anything lower than that, it's just, you're not going to get enough speed out of it for it to ever be a good mod. If that wasn't a defense roll, I would keep that. If that had rolled into either tenacity or potency, preferably potency, that would have been a decent mod to keep, even at 9 speed, but I also tend to sell anything that rolls into flat defense on principle, because flat defense is the most useless stat in the entire game. It adds almost nothing to your character, especially if it's a character that's ever going to be at relic levels. The flat defense is like almost worth less than 0.5% of your total defense at that point. It's terrible. Absolutely worthless stat. And the last mod type we have to look at is these triangles. So one thing to pay attention to here as well is, that's actually not terrible. I don't like that flat protection roll, but it's not the worst. We hit 1 speed and so far it's a 5 and a 6. We might slice that. I don't know that we should, but we might do it anyway, because gambling is fun. Alright. That's not a great mod, but 13 speed is okay. We can maybe do something with that. Better than 12 speed. Why is that mod locked? That shouldn't be locked. That probably shouldn't be locked either, but that's another one that hit too good. It's got 2 good speed hits, so if it hits again at slicing it to gold, it has a lot of really good potential. But again, it's pretty gambly. Okay, so when you're doing these speed arrow or speed satin crosses, pretty free and loose. One thing to note here is, like, this is an offense set. How many characters are you going to put an offense set on where you want a tenacity cross? Most of the time, if you have a character that wants a tenacity cross, they want 3 tenacity sets in addition. There's really only one exception to that I can think of, which is, well, maybe a couple of exceptions, but the main one is a CLS, because if you give him some tenacity, then Chupio will share it with the rest of the team, and you can kind of boost up the tenacity on your two Wookiees, in order that they don't get dazed, which is really only useful if you're using them to fight gas. Because if gas lands a daze on your Wookiees and they can't assist, it becomes a lot harder to take that team down quickly. And yeah, other than that, you're pretty much not going to want, specifically an offense cross with tenacity, on anybody else that I can think of. However, I am in the market for an offense cross with tenacity for specifically my CLS, and so every time I find one, I'll do a little work on it and see if I can't turn it into something useful. And that one was not the useful one. I do have a few gray ones, I think, that I've started on that will eventually get sliced up, and we'll see what happens with them. But yeah, for the most part, that's it. But like this offense set with health on it, not even gonna bother putting credits into it. Won't ever put that on somebody, other than as a like temporary mod set. Same thing with that defense. Defense there. Potency can be useful on a lot of characters. A lot of characters that want different sets, like a little potency on their cross, and so I tend to level up potency crosses in multiple different kinds of sets, so that I can, make a potency cross work on somebody with whatever sets I'm trying to put on that somebody. Here's another one of those offense crosses with tenacity. We did hit a little speed. We've got percent offense. We've got crit chance. If this hits, it hit the ones that we didn't need, so it becomes immediately a useless mod. Hate it when that happens. These, again, my thoughts on defense primaries are pretty well known. I tend to sell any gray mod that has a defense primary, because the chances of a gray mod becoming a good mod are so bad that, I can't get any rolls into that, but that's 5 speed, health primary. We like to see it. Good stuff there. Oof. That's got speed and offense. It's good stats, but that mod has a lot of potential to very quickly become terrible, because everything else on it is terrible. Except I think there's flat offense on there too, which is not the worst, but it's it's like close to as bad as flat defense on a mod. That is not an offense mod, so we can level up this with protection. Hit some speed, that's good, that's good. Let's find these mods with decent speed on them and lock them down. And that is it for the mod work. So that's pretty much how I go through and get rid of everything. Sell the stuff. I leave everything at 12 until I put it on a character, and then once it's on a character, it gets leveled up to 15 because the sets improve. You know, if it's at 15, you get, you know, double the health off a health set, double the crit damage, double the crit chance. It essentially doubles the effectiveness of all of the mods, including defense, I guess. I was thinking it wasn't quite double on defense, but it is. So, yeah, you level the mod up to 15 once it's on a character. But until then, I keep credits in the bank and not in the mods. Anyway, I'm going to take a quick break, and then we'll start setting up some teams.